Hello, everybody, and welcome to another book club episode of the Butterfly Princess Show. Yeah, it's that time of the month again, end of the month, and the last Sunday of November, which can only mean a brand new episode of the Butterfly Princess Show book club. Now, this month, I'm going to be discussing the book Schindler's List, also released as Schindler's Ark by the author Thomas Keneally. Now, I thought this would be quite fitting today because not only does it fall on the last Saturday, Sunday of the month, which these book club episodes always do fall on the last Sunday of each month, but today, the 26th of November, is this evening marks the date of the announcement of the 2023 Booker Prize winner. Now, book is very much linked to the Booker Prize because it won the Booker Prize in 1982. It also won the Los Angeles Times Prize in 1983. So, and this book was the inspiration behind the classic Oscar-winning film Schindler's List, directed by Steven Spielberg, starring Liam Neeson as Oscar Schindler, Ray Fiennes as Armand Gert, Ben Kingsley is at Stern, and Embets Davids as Helen Hirsch. Now, this I've got to say because I've read a lot of books around to do with the Holocaust. You know, books of survival, memoirs of survivors of the Holocaust. So this is a genre that interested me anyway. Although I've seen the film many times and it's a fantastic film, you know, it's about very long, but it's a fantastic film. How it tells the story. You've got the little girl with the red coat, and it shows vividly everything that went on, what went on within the Krakow ghetto. But I've got to say that this is the first time of me reading the actual book of Schindler's List. And I've got to say that this is a remarkable piece of Holocaust literature. It's no surprise really that it won the 1982 Booker Prize. And it really gives a vivid portrayal and description of, you know, of what it was like at the time of that and what it was like like life in the ghetto, and you know, and how things were during that time. And also, which I thought was very good, was Thomas Keneally, sort of the author of this book, actually uses the real life testimony of the surviving of the Schindler Jews or Schindler Juden, and he um, travelled to many countries throughout the world, including the USA, Germany, Poland, Austria, places like that, to actually speak to members of the Schindler Jews and to hear their extraordinary stories. And that's where he uses this remarkable real life testimony from the actual people who were there and from the actual people who knew Schindler. And this book came about in the 1980s, when Thomas Keneally was in Beverly Hills in the USA, and he visited a luggage store because he wanted to purchase a new briefcase. And that store was actually owned by a Schindler Jew. The store was owned by a Polish Jew named Leopold Pfefferberg. And they obviously got talking and stuff. And it was through them that he learned this, this remarkable story of Schindler and what he did to save these Jews from persecution and extermination. Now, Oscar Schindler was no angel, far from it. He was a member. He originated from the Sudetenlands, which is modern day Czechoslovakia, and he was a member of the Nazi Party within them days. So he was a member of the Nazi Party who sort of brought about the persecution of the Jews. He was married to his wife Amelia Schindler. They were married for a number of years, but Oscar Schindler never remained faithful throughout his marriage. He was a womanizer. He had quite a number of female mistresses. He was also a heavy drinker, and he was also likened to take a few bribes in order to save these Jews from persecution. But towards the beginning of the war, when all this started, he was he took full advantage of Nazis and Germans taking over Jewish-owned properties and things like that. So he wasn't perfect in any stretch of the imagination, but to these Schindler Jews, to the Jews that he saved, he was an actual saviour. And the turning tide is sort of well portrayed in the book. Now, if you've seen the film, and I don't know anyone who hasn't actually seen the film of the Schindler's List film, if you haven't, where have you been? What have you been watching? It's really a must watch. It's quite upsetting because it deals with quite a upsetting subject, but the turning of the tide for Schindler was when he actually witnesses the exodus of the Jews from Poland, from this street in Poland called Pragorza Street, and where he sees this scarlet child in a scarlet cat walking among these Jews that are going to be exorcised from their communities, and put into this Krakow ghetto. And you could really visualize that from the book, because but it's not only from the descriptions in the book, it also shows that if you've seen the film, because you'll know if you've seen the film that the film is filmed entirely in black and white. So there's no colour. The only colour in the film is the little girl in the red coat. The little girl, I think she's only about 3 or 4. She's a very young little girl. And throughout the whole darkness of the film, you just see this one red coat, this little girl walking along, and that was portrayed very vividly in the book. Also in the book that was portrayed very vividly was the Prashov camp, which was ruled by a very narcissistic commandant, which was who was called Armand Goetz, who was an Austrian member of the Nazi Party. Now, I watched a documentary on Armand Goetz, who was known as the Butcher of Prashov, and Armand Goetz, he didn't actually come from a narcissistic background. He was an only child of Austrian parents, and for many years he worked in his parents' publishing house in Vienna in Austria. So he was a fellow Austrian of the Nazi leader Adolf Hitler, which we all know about him. So there was no question for telling within Armander's background of what he would become. He first worked at the German concentration camp of Dachau, and then he was moved to Poland as the commandant of the Prashov camp. Now, the Prashov camp wasn't an extermination camp, but Armand was a very narcissistic, horrible commandant. Like, while he was eating his breakfast, he would just shoot random prisoners. And he's very narcissistic and very cruel to his Jewish maid by the name of Helen Hirsch. Now, and he's very brutal to her. He beats her and Helen Hirsch feels that he's going to eventually kill her because he's that brutal to her. At one point, he actually beats her so bad that she has a perforated eardrum. So I think that in the book there is a very good contrast from because from Oscar Schindler and Armand, because although they were in cahoots with each other, but they took a lot of bribes were taken from Armand, from Schindler, in order to get these Jewish people to safety. And though it shows a real contrast, because although Schindler was a nice Nazi Party member, he saved all these Jews from persecution and extermination. And on the other hand, you had Armand, who was just this brutal master, who was a narcissist, who was just pure evil. And it all sort of worked. They all sort of started bribing when it came about that in the late, towards the end of the war, when the Prashov camp was to be disbanded, and the Jews of the Prashov camp were going to be, as the Nazis put it, relocated to the notorious Nazi death camps of Auschwitz, and Gus Rosen, and Schindler wanted to save his workers because they were already working in Schindler's factory in Krakow, which was part of the Amalia camp, which again wasn't an extermination camp. So he wanted to relocate his factory to to his native Sudetenland, Czechoslovakia, and through this, he had to comprise a list of 1,200 of over 1,000 Jews to take to this factory called Brimlitz, that would ultimately save their lives. Now, Brimlitz wasn't by any means an easy-go-lucky camp, but the Schindler Jews were very grateful that at least they weren't being shipped off to, to be exterminated as many of their fellow Jews were. Now, there are scenes in the book where some Schindler women and Schindler men are directed to, Auschwitz and Rose and camp, camping stuff like that. And also, if you've seen the film of Schindler's List, you'll know that there's a very poignant scene where the Schindler women arrive at Auschwitz, and they're taken to be disloused, and they're taken to the showers, and they don't know whether what's going to come out of them shower heads is going to be water or Zyklon B that will ultimately kill them. But they are saved, and then they are sent to the Brimlitz to be with the rest of the Schindler Jews. So that's the story in the nutshell, really. It's a remarkable piece of, like I said at the beginning, it's a remarkable story. It's a remarkable piece of Jewish of Holocaust literature that portrays that tells the story of a flamboyant of a flamboyant German industrialist who saved the lives of a total of 1,200 Jewish people in the light of unspeakable evil, brutality, and barbarity. And at the end of the story, Thomas Keneally does include a very detailed epilogue which tells the story of what Schindler did after the war. He and his wife Amelia relocated to Buenos Aires, Argentina, in South America. But unfortunately, Schindler became bankrupt for quite a number of times, but the Schindler Jews helped him a lot financially, and he was deemed righteous among the nations in the region of Yad Vashem. He was also invited to plant a tree of remembrance in Israel. And before his death, because he died in 1974, he requested that he wanted to be buried in Israel, obviously, which was the land of the Jews. So he is buried in Israel, and the remembrance tree that he was invited to grow at Israel still grows there today. And in terms of Armand Gertz, he was actually captured because he was put in an asylum. He was captured and he was put on trial, and he was found guilty, and he was sentenced to death by hanging at Prashov in 1946. So he was eventually executed. So that's the story in a nutshell, and that's my thoughts really of the book. I thought that it was a remarkable book, and it's a must read for anyone who's interested, in the era of the Holocaust, and who likes to read like me, likes to read Holocaust literature, because I just find Holocaust literature very fascinating to hear the stories of survivors, and it really ties in well with the film. Obviously, I've seen the film many times, and I've seen the film before I read the book, but obviously with many books that are based on films, the books are more detailed than the films. So if you read the book, definitely 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 watch the film as well, because they tie in perfectly together. Thanks for listening, everyone, to this month's book club episode, where we have been discussing the book Schindler's List by Thomas Keneally. Please join me again next month on the 31st of December, New Year's Eve, for the last Butterfly Princess Show Book Club episode of 2023. I won't be revealing now the title of the book we will be discussing in December. That book will be revealed on the 24th of December, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Also, not only on the Butterfly Princess Show do I do monthly book club discussions, but on the second Friday of every month, I do the Butterfly Princess Show Travel Lounge, where I take you on the virtual tour of a different country of my choosing. So that's on the second Friday of every month. The next one will be on the 8th of December. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And also the weekly interviews that I do with various people. So if you want to be interviewed by me for the Butterfly Princess Show to talk about the work that you do, please email me at butterflyprincess93@outlook.com to arrange your slot. And also, I can't say much yet, but I've got a very exciting collaborations coming up. But I will tell you more about that when I get more details. But I'll let you know. Okay, bye bye.